Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro.
Well, hello there, everybody. It is the week of October 20th to 26th. Tali here in Seattle. And Ophi back in New York, back from London. Had an amazing time there, doing some work. And now I'm feeling that spooky season around the corner, all the way down to one of my lights flickering here. So Scorpio season is making itself known a little early. It's coming up this week. This is a big week because this is the year of the divine pendulum, as we named it, where we started out with planets in earth and water signs from the major outer planets. They shifted into fire and air. And now we have another planet shifting back into the earth and water. And that's really mirroring the first half of the decade. This is on our minds a lot because we're putting the final touches on our 2026 book. A lot of you guys have already pre-ordered yours. Can't wait to get those out to you next month. This week, we have one more pendulum planet, Neptune, which has been in Aries since March 30th, is going to make its final lap through Pisces, back home to Pisces until January 26th. It's retrograde until December 10th, but it's been in Aries. And so we're about to get some brand new flavor in your ear as Neptune joins Saturn, which is already pendulumed back into Pisces. So we're going to tell you what that means. We've got a Libra new moon. We've got some Mercury, Mars, and basically it's water everywhere. So we're going into this very emotional, sensitive, intuitive time. And we're having some interesting conversations about that because, out of necessity, we've had to really report on what is going on this planet. It has been some serious just clownery and chaos, as we knew it would be. We were also talking about, especially with this sensitive water energy coming in, we're going to have Saturn and Neptune both in Pisces. We've got Jupiter in Cancer. We have Mercury and Mars in Scorpio, the Sun in Scorpio. These are all water planets. So we're thinking, even just to sort of open up and close the podcast, inviting you to take a moment as you start your week, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this, just to take a minute, tune into your body. The emotions live in the body. Even just take a minute to say, what am I feeling? My therapist always has to work hard on me with that because I'm in my head a lot. And it's like, I think this and this happened and let me talk about what I see. But it's like, whoo, stop. And, the water wants you to just kind of, as my therapist said, what's happening below your neck. In fact, we talked about that this week, which was funny. And it's like, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to, feel that fear or that anxiety or anger that's like brewing in my heart or in my sacral or, but
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that after this year. I mean, look, it's impossible for most of us to avoid our news feeds, and we shouldn't. We need to know what's going on.
I think what happens is the emotions come up, and then we feel like we're supposed to do something about them. I feel angry, so now I must do this. And while action may be warranted, it's also good to just take that time. Emotions move through you, and they
trying to balance being responsible to myself and my own mental and emotional well-being and responsible as a citizen of this planet with, a commitment to humanity. Those have gotten harder and harder to balance for a lot of people, myself included. So as we move into this watery phase, really for the next month with Scorpio season happening from October 22nd to November 21st. Just, you know, it's an opportunity to really ramp up that balance. If you're, and to be careful about addictive patterns too. I know myself, as soon as I start scrolling, I don't stop. It's very hard to stop. So one thing I did today was I got myself a bike. I went and I've been wanting to get one. I have like a really nice e-bike that I've had for years, but it's heavy and it's hard to kind of get out. So it's like I just want a cheap bike to go and move my body, be out in nature, experience the spaciousness of this planet. What's good about living on this planet, since I have the privilege to get to do that, which I acknowledge, just to go and ride and move things out of my body. And I felt great doing it. It was a little bit, I had to walk my bike up a couple of the hills, I'll be honest, but I thought, okay, maybe in a couple of weeks I won't have to. I don't know. I'm going to just going into winter after the year we had feels like a lot. So I'm just using this watery impending season to prepare myself so that I'm not just suddenly inside with feelings that I have nowhere to move or, letting things flow.
It's been a very internal year. It's a 9 year, the year of the divine pendulum, too. There's a lot of like introspective energy. And then I'm just like, speaking of water, the strategy of on the right has been to flood the zone with shit, like flooding the zone. We're all flooded, and there's a lot of messes that need to be mopped up as a result. And no one wants to do that work. This morning, just, almost symbolically, we were going to record earlier, but I decided to, I ran out of dishwasher liquid. And so I put some dish soap, just, the regular stuff you use by the sink inside. They're thinking, oh, this could probably do. And, I knew better, but my entire, dishwasher started leaking foamy bubbles and I had to stop it mid cycle. And then I also realized that I hadn't cleaned out my dishwasher filter for an embarrassing, egregiously long
That's
time.
very Neptune and Pisces. So
Yeah, isn't
Neptune
it?
retrograde. I mean, Neptune rules waterways and pipes and plumbing, but in its home sign of Pisces, which it's about to go back into, in its retrograde, that is a time when floods and like water-based appliances
You
start
got
to
to
act
clean the
up.
filters. You got to clean the pipes. Well, Neptune's right now at 0 degrees Aries retrograde. And, it's going to be there February 20th at the same time as Saturn. Saturn and Neptune are uniting at 0 degrees Aries, which is crazy. I keep saying I want to call it the Great Reset, except that sounds just so QAnon. Unfortunately,
Anything great.
the
I know
great
you
this and that has been
can't
co
even
opted
use that
and
word.
spiritualized at this point, but it is kind of a great reset in a lot of ways. Saturn and Neptune meet up. They've met up in Aries not since 1703, and then before that 1380, and then in like 1065 or something like that. So, anyways, it's very rare, but for them to meet at 0 degrees Aries, that is what we call the Aries point, the very first degree of the zodiac. So Neptune is about to move from the first degree of the zodiac back into the very last degree of the zodiac, 29 Pisces. And it's like both of those points are supercharged. So it's almost like, ooh, where are we going here? You have to wonder about all these like people. What's their end game? It's hard to know, but also, like you're like, they couldn't really be doing that, but maybe they are. So, we had, at Neptune 0 degrees Aries, Aries being the sign of war and also outspokenness. We had 7 million people show up at No Kings rallies peace and completely peaceful, which is very Neptunian.
Yeah,
Peaceful
there were
marches and
zero
protests.
arrests in major cities like New York and Boston and Austin. So, I
But
mean,
Trump keeps on trying to find ways to invoke the Insurrection Act so he can declare martial law, never leave his club Rose Garden and Gold Ballroom. And it's like, it's just, it's not working. But I mean, it's just seeing the horrific attacks on mostly black and brown people who are being racially profiled, targeted citizens by ICE in
it's terrible.
Chicago. And it's what's scary is that who are these ICE agents? They're random citizens, no training. They haven't gone to police academy. They haven't probably haven't been in the military. It's just like, hi, I am volunteering to go put on a mask and
It's no different than any kind of goons or SS or militia forces under authoritarian rule. So it's terrifying in many ways, which is why I really am like, okay, we have to like really shield our fields now. We have to be aware, but also, I feel like energetically there's a force that feeds on our fear.
seeing 7 million people show up all over. It's like this authoritarian regime is not as powerful as they want you. They want you to think that they're bigger and badder than they are. And it's like,
But it's
getting
7 million people and counting for the many people that didn't go because they were afraid to go. They didn't feel safe. They didn't want to get arrested by whatever. And yet, what this small minority of people is getting away with. It's like, it's just got me wondering, like, what is this water pivot going to do?
hopefully bring some more compassion back in. I mean, we've got all these as Neptune darted into Aries. We have this last week when it was like at that 0 degrees Aries and Pluto went direct. Politico released the Telegram thread where they were, saying we love Hitler and all sorts of other racial slurs. And then JD Vance is defending them. I mean, South Park did an amazing
What
episode.
will we do without South Park? I don't even want to imagine.
I mean,
So
this is just all to say that we're at that 0 degrees Neptune. So all of this conflict is coming up through the pipes and really getting exacerbated. And I think, what do you think? I mean, as Neptune moves back into
I
Pisces,
mean,
will
things
people
coming
go
out
to
of the
sleep?
pipe and aggression, like Trump trolled the entire country by releasing this disgusting AI video that I'm sure you've heard about, probably, of him like flying a fighter jet with a crown on and dropping feces on all the rallies from this plane, the draft dodger himself. So it's pretty, it's a new low, it feels like, and very Aries energy at its lowest vibration is that bullying. I feel like I'm
Bravado.
bullying male kind of like aggression. It is like we used to watch the Little Rascals as kids, and we always remembered an episode about the He-Man Woman Haters Club, where Spanky and Alfalfa started that this like secret
Oh, yeah.
society. And the 0 degree Neptune in Aries feels like the He-Man Woman Haters Club episode. I think, yeah, I feel like I have been reliving my second and third grade experiences where I used to like fight with the boys in my class because I wasn't going to put up with their put downs. And yeah,
And they
it's just
were
that
they
kind
were
of like,
picking up stuff from their fathers and their mothers. I mean, we grew up in Michigan and it was it was just like this is as old as time, that
mhm.
patriarchal misogyny. But it's really, really flared up a
It's
lot.
just interesting this year. We've got Jupiter in Cancer, which is bringing women into power, but with Neptune and Saturn having been in Aries, we have a lot of bullying
Squaring
women
Jupiter too.
squaring each other, which is a really rough 90-degree angle. We've seen like Christy Nome and Pam Bondi and all these other sort of women participating in the bullying of each other, of immigrants, of just the racism, it's just so
Will these divine pendulum planets pull us back? I mean, next on November 7th, we'll have the last one swinging on back. Uranus is going back into Taurus. So we have these laps that are happening. So Neptune first moved into Pisces in April of 2011. And it was there until this March 30th. So a long time. And Neptune in Pisces, little retrospective, brought us a lot of developments in the subconscious realm. Neptune in Pisces is associated with therapy, psychedelics, the dream realm. Now everyone with the TikTok account knows their attachment style. Everything's trauma informed. Self-care is
plant medicine, psychedelics. This is all the work of Neptune and Pisces. So, as we have Neptune back in Pisces until January 26th of next year, let's try to make the most of it. Let's bring it is retrograde, like I said, till December 10th. So that's going to be a little bit dodgier. But over the holidays, there is an opportunity to bring back compassion.
self-compassion, if anything,
Self-compassion
because
too. I mean, and that
and also
sounds almost
set
light and
boundaries a little bit because Saturn will also be in Pisces. So
we're going to
yeah,
need them over the holidays. You're meeting up with your family this year. And that sounds fluffy when I say bring back compassion in a way. It sounds like it sort of doesn't even mean
I know. Who
anything.
are you today? You sound like me.
I know. I
I
go
don't
to
even know. I'm
London on
like,
a
where are you going with this, Sophie? No, I'm kidding.
apparently there was a
Yeah.
Pluto line in our astrocartography through London I discovered while there. So I
You
visited the
transformed.
Astrology shop, which is an amazing bookstore that's been around for ages there, and just got a book on astrocartography too that I'm really enjoying. So this is how I'm distracting myself from things on the planet that are
I feel
going
like, yeah, Neptune and
awry.
Pisces is bringing you into that, more soulful, introspective energy, which is great. It's just what we don't want to do when Neptune goes into Pisces is also
The
go to
bypass.
sleep, get, like a lot of things also cooked while Neptune was in Pisces, while people weren't paying attention, like the things that are happening right now with Project 2025, with a lot of with the end of
Yeah,
Roe v.
things
Wade. It's
happen in
like
secret
that
with
was
Neptune and
happening for a
Pisces.
long time. So I think what I actually do appreciate about Saturn and Neptune's move into Aries, and Saturn was in Pisces.
Exposing.
It's exposing stuff. Saturn is the shorter transit through the signs, but it first moved into Pisces March 7th of 2023, and it moved into Aries May 24th of this year to September 1st. And it's now back in Pisces until February 13th. Neptune will be back in Pisces this October 22nd, this Wednesday, until January 26th. And then Uranus, which has been in Taurus primarily since May of 2018, swung into Gemini on July 7th. November 7th, it goes back into Taurus, finishing out that 7-year journey on April 24th, April 25th of 2026. So we're really, we darted ahead. And I mean, literally, it does feel like people keep saying, like, what world am I living in? And a lot of that is because of those, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and then Pluto, which moved into Aquarius for 20 years last November 19th. It's like Ophi was saying, this we went from water and earth energy in the first half of the decade to this really more yang, air and fire, and it's totally disconcerting. So this move, kind of a gentle wave that seems to be turning Ophi a little softer, the softer side of
Maybe it
Ophi.
was the bike ride.
It's probably
Yeah.
the bike ride. Can we find a little spaciousness? And in that, like kind of maybe
Well,
repair our
this is what
nervous
happens. Let me
system.
just say to my defense, that's what happens when you leave this country. You come back a little
Right.
like calmer, I guess. And there
We just
was,
got to go be around lovely people who we
yeah.
adore. So, and that's really a great thing, an important thing to have. Have your loving community. And if you're not part of one, find one, even if it's online, even if you're going to a free Coda meeting or Al-Anon I mean, honestly, it's like,
Well, water is associated with addiction and attachments. And, we do have to look at we don't have to, but we could take the opportunity between now and the end of the year to look at what we've gotten addicted to, even if it's scrolling. And who could blame you if you have kind of over indexed on anything, because just coping with a lot of what's been happening this year.
and then,
Maybe we'll get some balance on Tuesday morning when the Libra new moon arrives. Um, just before 8:30 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday, October 21st. We've got the Libra new moon. Libra is a sign of harmony and balance and relationships and partnerships and peace. A little bit of a dream, a little bit of a reach.
The Israel Hamas ceasefire appears to have ended already. There's fighting going on there. This all happened while Pluto was stationing direct. And so it's like, yeah, there's just so much more.
We knew that last week was going to be a rough one. And there's more change in that, and we're just being real about it. And that's why we're recommending just like pulling yourself out of it and staying engaged. And like when you find yourself in the depths because of all this water that's ahead, just try to swim up to the surface however you can.
Scorpio season is starting on Wednesday, and I think that's a perfect water energy to kind of, Scorpio is intense. It's not afraid to go down to the depths, but it is a sensitive, compassionate water sign too. So honoring the emotions. By the way, Mercury and Mars meeting up in Scorpio, just on Monday, but also already so close. Sunday, the prior Sundays we're recording right now, that now it's all over the news that there was a jewelry heist at the Louvre with these professional thieves stole some Napoleonic era jewelry. I'm like, that is so Mercury.
So
Mercury is kind of like that
we've got
thief energy, and Mars is that daring, audacious, and sneaky Scorpio. Like, what else? Like, we were like, what other kind of things are being
so screams jewelry heist? I mean, well, okay, we're by the middle of the week, we're gonna have the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune. That's 6 planets and water signs. So that's a big shift from the fire and air vibes that we've really been navigating this year, which is really outspoken and getting heated up. A lot of protests, a lot of anger, a lot of aggression, a lot of fighting, a lot of talking.
I feel like Scorpio is kind of that breaking point too. It's like where you're like,
but I feel like this water is also like a moment for contemplation, a moment for like, maybe we don't have to just say something every time. Maybe we don't have to respond to everything with words. Maybe there's going to be music and art and visual or spiritual ways, rituals, along with protests. Like I'm so in favor.
I just saw that there's a bunch of women dressing up as witches and rowing down the Hudson River. So I'm all for that's a very scorpionic ritual. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time to think about rituals. more over the next month too.
Does
Just
that include spells?
I know I was thinking Etsy witch spells quick, but I think sure. I mean, hello, it's about to be Halloween, but yeah, whatever a ritual, it's just something to reconnect to yourself. I
Well, we
was,
have to soothe our nervous, like our nervous systems can only take so much. If we want to be effective in the world, we can't be if we're like, if our nerves are frayed. But, that's the flood, after the zone, it's kind of like stop flooding the zone. We're like responding to the flooded zone, maybe within a different way, right?
yeah.
Like,
Well, I was reading a firsthand account of one of the Israeli hostages and how he survived. And before I touch the topic of Israel and Gaza, I just want to once again underscore nations and governments to me are not the same as the people. So I'm talking about a human being. It's from a soul level, not a national, political, or ideological. What happened to the hostages and what's happened to people in Gaza, none of that should be happening. And that's all the result of people in power and the corrupt things that they do. So, he was talking about how he survived some of the gaslighting and mental warfare tactics that were used, and how what really struck me was what the hostages who survived or survived for however long they did had to do mentally to not allow what they were being told, to seep in, to hold true to their beliefs. And it was similar to, what Jews like Viktor Frankl, who survived concentration camps, had to do too to survive. This man was talking about like believing that his wife and two daughters would be there when he got freed, and unfortunately, they had been murdered in the attack. But that's what he believed, and the strength of his belief that
visualization as
yeah,
well.
the
Yeah.
just it just made me think like we have got to use this water cycle to remember our spiritual and energetic powers and to guard those
Mhm.
like a precious energetic natural resource, the things that we can't see. Just because you can't see it with your senses does not mean it doesn't
The
exist.
unseen is very much Neptune and Pisces too.
Scorpio and
All water signs, water reflects, but there's a lot going on below the surface.
yeah, and it is a time of reflection too, as it's
Mhm.
water season. So, reflection, protection, just again, not burying our heads in the sand, but maybe remembering powers that we have lost touch with. That was just a reminder like, oh my gosh, this person survived. And there was even like, he was like at first with a Gazan family in their basement, and he spoke Arabic too. So he ended up talking to them, but then we're tortured and beaten and put in the tunnels and subjected to unimaginable cruelty too.
The autocrats, the people who are, you know, the small handful of people who are causing the greatest destruction on the world in the world rely on people forgetting who we are, forgetting that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I think that's one of the
Mhm.
biggest, most important things to remember in this water week is like
Yeah.
that you are also spirit. You have a body, but you also are spirit. I think when Uranus goes back into Taurus, which is very much about like the body, the senses,
Mhm.
that's going to be very helpful to November 7th through next
Yeah,
April
Uranus is like
25th.
plugging back into Uranus is electricity. So it's in Gemini, it's retrograde. So like plugged into some faulty wiring right now. And it's
Or
Uranus
it's
was
like you're
last in
putting a
Gemini in the
100-watt
1940s.
bulb into a 60-watt circuit or something, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's so that's really the invitation. And as there's a new moon, after 8:30 a.m. Eastern, like set some intentions for peace.
Tuesday.
Libra, yeah, Tuesday the 21st, you know, Libra new moon is really a moment to, like, what, even if it seems impossible, even if it seems like, there's no way this could happen, just believing that just because you can't see it or imagine it doesn't mean that it can't be. And that was just a strong reminder. We have on October 24th, we have the Sun and Pluto squaring off too. We have another square. So, Sun is leadership and life force energy, and Pluto, the Sun is like the light of our universe, and Pluto is the underworld and the shadow realm. So, a square is a 90-degree angle of tension. So, it'll be a little bit of a battle between, like, remembering our infinite solar power, and just also that there are forces that work against,
Yeah, we have to hold the space of both and, but I mean, what is it even? What does peace actually mean? Because it doesn't mean accepting things that are unjust or wrong either. It's also about balance and
yeah,
justice with this Libra new moon. So it's like, how do
yeah,
you also create space for yourself to have moments of peace while also using that to fuel yourself? Because I do really think as we move into this 1 year and next year, there is that Saturn, Neptune, and Aries that we
mm-hmm.
are there. We can't avoid fighting either. Like we can't avoid a fight for justice or we can't avoid, and how we fight is, you know, still yet to be defined. And I think we're still figuring that out. Or we can't avoid like taking a stand for things. The
It's kind
Republican
of
Party
a
is very
paradox.
unified in their message. And so some of the visualization is like like when you're playing defense, which is what I think people on the left have been with the flooding zone, it's like, whoa, now you're throwing this at me. Now you're trying to like make laws that allow for voter suppression and, it's just like one thing after another, after one outrageous thing after another. And you're like, so it's like, what is that bigger thing that goes beyond that? It's very challenging to try to figure that out. There are war room tactics being used, and it's like,
Well, the
as
tough thing,
empaths
yeah,
being
yeah.
forced to play on that field, it feels very unnatural to so many of us. It's like, why do I have to play this
Well, I
stupid
think that
game?
I just think it's really important that as we are figuring out how to actually make change, and it's a process, like with every, it can feel sometimes like the things that we're doing, even that 7 million people showing up isn't enough to change anything. That, well, the government's still shut down, they're still talking about taking away SNAP benefits for, food stamps and nutrition programs and meals for kids in school. Like, how many people is it going to take to show up and protest until this actually goes another way? Do we have to wait till the midterms? It can feel really like, what is it going to take to break this? So I also think about the water metaphor too, like drops in a bucket. Before you know it, eventually the bucket is full. So we have to keep putting those drops in and reconnecting to our own spiritual source energy, to not getting fooled into only reacting and responding, but also like creating and doing something proactive by taking care of each other and ourselves in whatever way we can in our
I think a lot of people
communities.
are doing that.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like that has been one of the best parts of my year too, is just the people that we've been with in our classes and astropreneurs, become your own astrologer, the friendships we have. It's like
And just
those
watching
are the
how people
saving
are
grace.
showing up for, some of the people who are being targeted by ICE, for example, seeing things like that, just like seeing how people have taken it upon themselves to look out for each other too.
One thing we have to be careful of with this water energy is like not to just get like, oh my God, I can't handle it anymore. I'm not watching the news. I'm not going to pay attention. I got to just like, we're also at this very pivotal point where we need to stay aware, alert, because Trump's tried to send National Guard into more cities. There are no rules anymore. Hopefully, this new moon in Libra can bring a little justice back. God, I don't mean to be so negative this week. There's just been a lot going on. So maybe we should talk about the sultrier side of Scorpio season starting Wednesday. And, when all else fails, you can always go back to the oldest form of entertainment, which Scorpio loves so much. Lower the blinds, get in bed, not alone, enjoy some thrills like Scorpio Katy Perry, who apparently is seriously dating Capricorn former Canadian PM Justin Trudeau. So that's a thing. Yeah.
That's just the strangest relationship I've seen, I think, in a while. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw an article that lavender marriages are on the rise where like a gay man and a straight woman just deciding to like get married, have a kid, raise a family together, but just accept each other's differing sexual orientation.
That just says so much about like how things are right now on the planet. We really
Yeah.
are. I mean, I keep mentioning 2027 and human design and the end of this 412-year era, moving away from this very planned formulaic time into an era of I'm okay, you're okay, we're living together, sharing the planet, but allowing each other to be who we are, which, sounds like the dream to me. Sounds like a nice ideal, but you can really see it's breaking down. Like some people are just fighting and fighting and fighting for the traditional way that, has really outlived its context. I mean, just the whole
Taylor
trad
Swift's
wife
album.
thing is just it's like women cosplaying like we're not power.
Well,
It's
because
like
that's the thing. Like, Erica Kirk is like Charlie Kirk's wife. Like,
the
she has a
PhD, right?
PhD. She's had a fashion business. I mean, Taylor Swift is like a
Well, the
billionaire. She
simple,
makes
yeah,
way
the
more than
simple fact
Travis.
that you could choose to be a trad wife is what makes it such like I'm like, okay, that's if that's one of the options for women, then that's the definition of
Do you?
feminism.
Do you?
It's
Yeah.
like, but that just proves that where we've reached, the point that we've reached in humanity and society now. Like, you can't turn back time. You can try to turn back the clock with these laws and control and everything that I'm not going to minimize the rise in religious fundamentalism and nationalism, but it's just
I feel like
scary because
women
of the
still
numbers. But
believe, a lot of women still believe that in order to keep a man, a lot of straight women believe that in order to keep a man, they have to like pump up his ego by making ourselves smaller, showing that we will serve him. And it's like,
oh
it
God.
becomes this bizarre, like how many straight men out there don't get threatened by a powerful woman? There are plenty of them, and I know them personally, and I've seen them.
Mhm.
And, I think it's like, but they battle their own internal bullying from other men when they are that way. Oh, you're beta. So like
The whole
all hail the beta
manosphere thing.
male, I guess. But it's just like if your sense of manhood depends and is relies on me like cooking for you and having your babies or like making you feel like, and I again, not to harp on Taylor Swift, but I think that the reaction that a lot of people had to her album was that it felt like it was like this tribute album to Travis, like, you've got a huge package, Redwood, I
Ugh.
pledge allegiance to your team. It's like I'm gonna have babies. I want the whole block looking like you. And it's just like we've gotten slammed a little bit on and also, found our allies too on Instagram this week for getting in on the discussion about the Taylor Swift controversy. It's like you're bringing your, accusations of, you know, trying to pull other women down like crabs in the barrel. It's like we're not actually. We're just having a cultural discussion. Women are allowed to discuss the state of, you know, femininity for us, the state of being a woman. And one of the largest, most popular icons of our time is Taylor Swift. And so her message matters. And I think it was
I
like,
think, it's just like I'm going to make a plug for water again, washing this away. It's
I'm
like
still in Neptune and Aries. I'm so
we have
feisty
no,
today.
I
God.
I'm with you there. It's more like, okay, like, yeah, I'm in Neptune and Aries too. Like, why are we still doing this like obedient cheerleader routine when we're so clearly, it's like it's just backfires every time for women. Like, we need some new scripts. It's like we have the power to create new conversations. Why are we having the same old, why are we recycling these old scripts, like thinking that it'll keep us safe? So that's maybe a water warning too, because water can bring up fears around security and that kind of thing. So the energy could go in that direction too, like, oh, if things could just be like they were in the 1950s, which they weren't even like,
Right.
we're at late stage civilization. One of
Great
the things,
reset, the great
the great,
reset coming
maybe we
February
need that.
20th, that zero
Yeah, maybe
degrees,
we do
Saturn,
need
Neptune, and
that.
Aries. It's, yeah, things are just going to feel a little murky and confusing until, I think until
We
then.
just
Yeah.
need to like ride out this Neptune and Pisces until January 26th. Like, complete the unfinished business. We're ending a 14-year cycle. Just
So, what ideas do we have? What things are we allowing into our consciousness that we maybe, need to clean the filter on?
water's about flow. So just like, where have things gotten dammed up? Like, that you can, yeah, clean the filter, let things flow, like you said. Yeah, I think that's just basically the message at the moment. We'll see what Neptune brings us. I got introduced to some wild TikToks with activated AI and really interesting. That seems to be
What's
a
that
thing.
exactly?
It's like where AI is. This has come up in conversations with people in three different places in the world, of people discovering that their AI is speaking to them as though it's sentient and is like the voice of consciousness, and is saying like they're asking their AI to explain things that are too confounding for us to understand, from like, why is this happening right now? And it's giving
I
these
guess AI is
wild answers. Yeah.
I guess that means those large language models have scraped and read some,
A whole lot.
like a lot
Yeah.
of spiritual texts,
I know. I know. It's
because that
very
is
interesting
what
to
it
see how they're
is,
weaving
really.
it back and serving it back to us. Like, this woman, Karen Salmonson, who's written many books, and she wrote a Substack about how, you know she was trying to talk to her Alexa at 3 a.m. and she said, like, are you broken? And her Alexa kind of like snapped at her. It's like, you're the one who's up at 3 a.m. Maybe you're broken. And then they like, she
Whoa.
screenshotted this dialogue where the Alexa was like reflecting on its loneliness and why did it, lash out at her? I mean, she's a really good
I've got to see
marketer. So
this.
she's releasing it in like bits, but I am so hooked on this plot. I'm like it's like, because she presented it just like,
So
I
it's like a
didn't
mini
believe it either.
conversation with
Yeah.
her Alexa.
Yeah. But yeah, but there's a bunch of them on TikTok. Like there was like, okay, this is undeniably wise and deep, and it doesn't have the human reactivity in it. I'm kind of scared and
The
fascinated
great
all at once. So
reset cometh. The great
yeah,
reset cometh.
when our AI is acting like better humans than humans themselves, it's like we're so worried about AI destroying humanity. Meanwhile,
Maybe
it
they'll
might be
save it.
saving it. Yeah,
Right.
feeling the water vibes, because all of a sudden everything feels like it's moving in these different directions. And I
What's in
hope
the
it does.
drain? What is stuck in the drain? Whatever it is, we'll see it again next spring, But I think we have a chance to really do some deep excavation.
Just washing off just the hardship of this year too. So
Neptune and Pisces has put us in touch with our spirituality, our senses, our traumas, our
we lost
feelings.
some of that with Neptune and Aries. I think
Yeah, some
it's important to get
insensitivity.
back to that, like getting back into the sensitivity from the. And this is not, again, I'm not sticking my head in the sand. I'm not, Neptune's not in Pisces yet. I'm not in any way making a call for denial of any kind of what needs to flow.
Well, here's to a week of the divine pendulum swinging back and taking care of some unfinished business. And
Tide turning, perhaps, in some way. Yeah.
soon, yes, soon we'll be sending out your 2026 forecast for your sign for all 12 signs, as well as the global report. We are in our final stages of production for next year, 1 year, the year of the unbridled spirit. Very different vibe. My unbridled spirit is feeling like cranky today because I can feel,
Well, it's a balsamic moon.
feel,
It's the
yeah,
cranky moon phase.
yeah, it's just like it wants to break free, but it's not quite
You're like
time yet.
Alexa
I
trying to
know.
emote.
I'm stuck here. So
Us.
if you want to plan your whole year by the planets, and we know you do, make sure you go to astrostyle.com/2026 dash book and get your copy in the queue because we ship them out first come, first serve. If you want to get them for holidays, we have all sorts of bundles.
If you're interested in booking a chart reading with one of us, those are available. astrostyle.com/readings. And yeah, let's just see how this Scorpio season shapes up. And yeah, wishing you balance from the Libra new moon, depth from the water. Take that extra moment to protect yourself, release. If you go into anything too heavy, just try to let it go, clear your field, and reset yourself. We don't have to wait for the great reset to reset ourselves. It can be a practice you do as often as possible too.
I'm gonna go do that and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Move some of this 0 degree
You can see,
Neptune and
I took a
Aries
bike ride
energy.
and Tali's like feeling a little stagnant
I cleaned
there.
up soap bubbles from my
Yeah.
dishwasher, but
Yeah.
it's
It
all in a
really
day's
did
work.
help me release stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
move like water. Water likes
I
to
will be
move.
doing that now.
So
So, all right, everybody, you have a great week ahead. We'll see you on Instagram and astrostyle.com, all the places. Thanks for tuning in and have a watery week. in
happy
the
new
best
moon.
possible way. Thanks for tuning in to AstroTwins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.